it's starting. It's going sooner or later.
Looks like we're live.
Wow. Okay. Now I got to grab this. And I'm not live. I'm not on there, though. I'm showing up black. There I am. Oh, I just popped up.
How apropos.
Right? Why not? Why not? I mean, it's, we have enough of those nice, clean audios and videos, and then all of a sudden we get this. Yeah,
That's right.
It's going to happen, I guess.
That's right.
So Richard Shannon has popped in. Looks like Blaine Kerr and Michael Burleson. See how we can. I'm not exactly sure how this vMix social thing works exactly. So
we're trying it out.
Bear with me. We're trying it out. Hopefully we'll be able to see your comments pop up. So feel free to comment along and just let's have some fun. How about that?
We're always trying something new.
Yeah,
always trying something.
It seems new. Like, well, we're trying to be at the top of this industry of what we're doing. We try to, set the standard for live streaming rather than follow a standard. Mm-hmm. And that's really kind of what we've started doing. People can kind of see what's going on behind the scenes sometimes, even because we don't necessarily always get off the live streaming time.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So comment, it helps. It helps so we can try out this new thing, share this out. This is going to be a big topic. This is eye-opening because it's really obvious that this is something that needs to be talked about more in checking this out, the topic tonight.
Yeah, I thought, this topic was, when you showed it to me, I was like, wow, I didn't realize it was that big of a thing. I really didn't. And to be honest with you, I was really surprised. But I'm glad that we're talking about this topic because it is something that people do need to know for just happier relationships, happier lives in general, even if it's not necessarily a relationship, just for a happier life for both men and women.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, come on, this is as natural as anything else in life, right? And I think a lot of the issues that we have with the sexual harassment and all that stuff that's going on, I think if sex wasn't looked at as such a hush-hush taboo topic, then I think we'd have a lot less issues. And I think we could, because we could parent our kids better when it comes to something like this. There's sex ed in school, which is great, but that really provides the whole technical aspect. It doesn't talk about the pleasure aspect, and that is really that's what's missing. And I grew up. My mom talked very openly about sex. Not so much my dad, but my mom did, and we'd all be like, "Mom," but I mean, at least it wasn't. It was made to be. It was something normal and enjoyable, right? Yeah, it wasn't. Right. I mean, she didn't get into like detailed, well, the odd thing, but I mean, not detail, not that type of thing, right? Right. But yeah, I think there needs to be more discussion on this topic. And after looking at these 7 questions, the 7 most Googled questions that you would think would be basic.
You would think.
It's not, because people are Googling it. And with all the information out there, people are still Googling that. So
yeah, it is one of those things. So are we ready to actually try to start the show?
Yes.
It looks like we got some awesome people showing up. Hey, Cherie, thank you very much. I hope I said your name right. I can't remember if that's the way you pronounce it or not. So, hey, thank you very much. She's a new friend, new connection that I made today. And I am so happy to see her joining us on this episode of Grit and Grace. So
awesome.
Let's get started.
And share it out. Sharing it out.
Hey, what's up, folks? This is CJ from Grit and Grace TV, and tonight we're talking about those 7 most Google questions about sex on the internet. Joining me tonight is Lynn Brunette, as always. The beautiful, the amazing, the oh my God, and thank you for making me look smarter, Lynn Brunette. And tonight we are going to have a lot of fun. We've got 7 questions, and we're going to talk about those 7 questions. And hopefully you'll join us in the chat. Let us know exactly what it is that maybe you can share about these 7 questions, because this is going to be a lot of fun. And this is a topic, like we were saying at the beginning, we need to talk more about. And with that, Miss Lynn, how are you doing?
Awesome. I'm excited to talk about this. I think this is a great, well, we always have a good time when we talk about this, because we don't have a problem talking about it, and people get so much out of it. We've done this subject before. People get so much out of it. We get such great feedback, and we always have a laugh or two.
Oh, absolutely. And that's what it's about, right? It's about sharing. It's about sharing the information so people can continue that conversation long after this episode is done and aired.
Yeah.
And that's what we're all about here. So tonight these questions, when you sent them to me, I was blown away by them. I really did not know that people struggled with some of these things, that people really wanted to know this stuff.
Yeah. That's the problem in the world. See, all the world's problems, it's in these 7 questions.
So I'm going to go ahead and try to pull these questions up, because I don't have them in front of me. Unless you've got them in front of you, that would be awesome, because I don't. I had prepared so many other things, but that was not one of them things. And I was here 45 minutes early, so
doing other things. You're the tech half, but you're the tech half. So, okay, I forgive you. And if you're watching, share this out, because obviously this is information that, needs to be talked about and needs to be able to remove that taboo and that hush hush thing. So I've got the questions here. Let's get going. The first question is, where is the G spot?
Wow.
But you know what? This is, it's not just, I think you'd think that it's probably mostly men that maybe are Googling this, but there's plenty of women who don't know either. But that's just something that's not really talked about, right? Just basic sex is talked about.
No, and I don't think a lot of people really understand the whole concept of it. It's one of those things that you don't learn about in school when you're going through sex ed. I don't even know if they still do sex ed in school anymore, but
they do.
I know back when I was going through school, you learned about, the parts of the vagina, and you learned about the clitoris hood, the labia. That's about it.
What kind of sex ed did you have? I never had sex ed like that.
It was very scientific. It wasn't about, the enjoyment aspect of it, because they don't want to promote that in schools. They want to promote the scientific aspect of it, the pregnancy aspect. They want to scare the shit out of you with pregnancy, and then they want to make sure that the outer realm, but they don't talk about the inner realm. I can't believe I just used the word realm to describe vagina, though.
I know, I was a little surprised. Realm. It is like a realm. So real quick, for people who, they kind of have an idea where it is, but they don't know whether they're reaching it, whether, give you a really quick lesson for those of you who are watching, because I think a lot of people don't want to admit that they don't know where it is either. So here's a really easy tip for men and women. You want to go in like this. And just remember the come hither. So in, up, and you could go like this. So it's like, come on. And it's going to feel different. So if you're going to feel something rough, like the outside of a nut, you've hit it. That's the spot. It's kind of firm. It's spongy. It feels a little bit rough. You've hit it. That's where it is.
If it feels like you're rubbing on a walnut, yay, you found it. Um, really, it's not really that difficult once you kind of figure this thing out. And because it's only like 1.5 to 2 inches inside, all these guys that for years have been like, oh, I'm kind of inadequate, blah, blah, blah. It's not, it's not about,
You don't have to like,
you don't have to be like
you're
10
freezing.
inches long.
Are you freezing on screen?
Nope, I don't see it. So, but anyways, I am freezing though. It is only 34 degrees in my shed right now. So
no, but I mean, screen.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, but it hasn't frozen over here on Facebook. So we're going to keep on going.
Okay. So yeah, it's really not. Yeah, I think there's the idea that it's like way like deep, like you gotta like ram right in there. No.
And let's talk about the reason why this is important to know, because it's not about just that jackhammer effect. I mean, guys, it's like you get on, you get in, you get out, it's done. And
don't be a hamster.
Don't be the hamster
or a bunny.
I mean, it's important for women to be able to lubricate. It's important for women to become more aroused. It's extremely important for them to reach orgasm. I mean,
switch it up and to switch it up.
And yeah, exactly. And I think a lot of people, the reason why they're looking for this answer is because they're trying to explore the different types of female orgasm. And there's over 10 different types of female orgasm. And to be able to find the spots that will, electrify her and to help her experience those different orgasms, that's really what it's about.
For exactly. a lot of women, different for everyone. A lot of women, G-spot does nothing. It's different. So, but for some women, that's like the holy grail of like orgasms, and some just can't. And it is very, very different. So, it's just up towards the belly button, just kind of like this. And if you ladies, if you feel like all of a sudden, like you got to pee and, oh my God, like just move past that feeling of like, oh my God, I got to pee.
Yeah.
You don't just move past that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And guys, you got to also remember when you're using your fingers, it's not in and out. It's really not. It's in, hook, and up and down. That's really where that's the trick. And you will have her just bouncing, all over the bed, vibrating. Bouncing. Yeah, it's her.
It looks like there's an exorcism
all night long.
Yeah. If it looks like there's an exorcism happening, then you.
And be firm, guys. Be firm. Babies come out of there. Babies come out of there. They can handle this. It's okay.
Yeah, ladies, the rough skin tippers.
So hey, just experiment, have a little fun, and take your time. Don't need to rush into everything. Just take your time and enjoy each other, because that's really what this experience is all about, is just learning each other's bodies and finding out what buttons to push. And trust me, when you find that button, whoa.
Yeah.
So some of the comments, I'm just going to go back before we go on to the next comment or next question. Some of the comments that are coming in are absolutely awesome. Cherie Kirk says, this is cracking me up, but I guess some people don't really know. And you're right. Some people don't know. It's the number one most Googled question on Google. I mean, on the internet.
Yeah.
Bonnie Frank says, no one wants to be constantly pile driven.
Yeah. Don't come in like gangbusters, because it's like a marathon, guys. It's a marathon.
Yes, this conversation is certainly for grown-ups. That's why I said put the kids to bed in my post, and maybe grab a glass of wine, whatever. It's going to get better. We've got a lot to go. So before we go on to the next question, Question number 2.
Da, 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 da. Number 2, how to make a woman orgasm.
See, we kind of touched on that already in question number 1, but
This is more technique, though.
this is definitely about technique. And and I don't want to talk to just men about this, because women, it's important for you to know too. If that's, you'd think that women would know another woman's body, but realistically, that's not always the case.
No, because every body is different. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
What works for one doesn't necessarily work for other. There are some generalizations, I mean, across the board, but what's going to hit it for one is not necessarily going to be the thing for someone else. But the thing that is across the board is, sometimes a quickies great. Sometimes you like quick and dirty and angry kind of sex.
But it's in the senses, though. The senses and the mood.
That's right. And you'll be able to feel that. But generally, it's just slow. It's hit those spots, like listen for feedback. Like, are you getting some favorable noises? You both got to make noises. You want to know that, okay, you're hitting that spot. If everything's gone quiet, well, maybe it's time to find a different spot, and maybe you need to move on and try it out. And maybe you need to hit on a couple spots at the same time. And
yeah, when you hear the sound, ow, 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 that's not the right sound. That's not the right sound. Guys, you got to move on. You got to change. Yeah. I think a lot of guys get in this whole thing where it's like they get into this, they can't do multiple things at the same time. So they might be like rubbing on one spot, sucking on another spot. And it's like, okay, it's like patting your head and rubbing your belly for most guys. And it gets awkward, and they're listening. And most guys are insecure to the point where they're listening, but you make a noise that sounds somewhat. And a lot of people can't tell the difference between certain noises, whether it's pleasure or pain, because sometimes they kind of sound the same. So it's like you rubbing, and she starts going, ah, 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 ah. And it's like, oh, wait. Okay.
And then you're like, what are you stopping for?
Yeah, and then you say, what are you stopping for? It's like, oh, I thought that was hurting you. No, you finally found it.
Yeah. Yeah. You just took me off. Now we got to go back up the hill. Oh my God.
So yeah, in time of day plays a huge part in it too. Some people are morning people. Some people are afternoon people. Some people are evening people. And sometimes you may not always be on the same schedule of people, but at the same time, there are certain things that you can do for men and women, both, to be able to kind of snap that out. In any time is a good time if you know how to read each other, if you know how to be in tune with those subtle hints. It's life ain't like a porno where it's like, hey, you ready? Let's do this. It's not like that.
It's not at all. And you know what? For a lot of women too, foreplay, it starts before you even like take off your clothes and get into bed. Like it starts before that.
Well, and that's the most important part of the entire act, is that foreplay, that getting the mind in the right mindset in order for the rest of the body to start relaxing and calming down. Because a woman is not going to have an orgasm if she's tight and still stressed from the day. It's not going to happen. Yeah. Guys, you might think she had one. I guarantee you she probably didn't. If she's still stressed out and you came home from work and say, hey, honey, what's for dinner? And then you expect to get a little bit something later, she's not having that orgasm. She's just going to let you get it over with, and that's it. Yeah.
And a tip, just because you had one doesn't mean she had one. So be a little bit more mindful. I was watching this video about someone was going around and interviewing guys and just asking them the one question, like, when you have sex, do you know if she's had an orgasm? And they were kind of like, no. Your orgasm is not the whole point. guys, of it. It's really for both. And be mindful of that. Absolutely. And if you do have an orgasm and she hasn't, that doesn't mean it's over. It's almost like it's over once the man has, had his. If she hasn't, keep going. Why does that seem to be like that? That's sort of like the mindset, the sort of the learned thing. When that hits,
well, that's become so normal though that even women will be like, "Oh, you had an orgasm? Okay, I guess we're done
it's
now."
over.
Yeah, and then they'll just kind of go about their routine of whatever they do, and that's it's a shame. It really is, because as we've talked about on past shows and things like that, women are starting to break out of those shells. They're starting to express themselves more. I don't want to say dominantly, but more assertively, if you know what I mean. And part of that is sexual expression, and sexual expression for women. It's extremely important in today's society, because there's so much that we're finding out that goes along with how sex plays a part in your day-to-day life, whether it be through success. I mean, it boosts your confidence and your self-esteem, everything about what happens during sex, that exchange of emotion, that release of chemicals and all these different scientific stuff that we're not necessarily getting into right now. Yeah. But all these things happen, and part of that release is through that orgasm. So guys, if I was to give one tip, and one tip only, make her satisfaction and her pleasure a priority, because I guarantee you do that, she will go above and beyond and jump over the rainbow to make sure you're just as satisfied.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So did we beat that one to death?
Yeah, because I think 1 and 2 were kind of linked.
Played with those together. Yeah, we kind of played those ones together.
Yeah.
So yes, it's just be into each other.
Yeah, absolutely. So number 3 is how to get a bigger penis manually. Does size matter?
Well, does size matter?
I think no, to a point, because it's much more than just that. I mean, it's the whole thing. And we just talked about in the first 2 questions. I mean, the big thing for women is, it's leading up to that. It's how are you interacting with each other before you even take off your clothes and get into bed. It starts so much more, that connection before that. And it's all the other things involved. It's just the touching, it's the intimacy, it's the closeness, it's all of that. If it's not just, if it was just size and penetration, I mean, we'd be animals, right?
Well, so, then any toy could take the place of any guy, if that was the case.
Exactly. So there's so much more. But I mean, and everybody's different. I think there is a point where size would, but I don't know that any man would be that small.
Well, I think size does matter, though, to a certain degree. And here's the reason why I'm saying that. It's not about length, because for a long time, guys, they get real kind of self-conscious. It's like, oh, I got shrinkage and this, that, and the other. And so it's not necessarily the length aspect as much as it is the circumference of it.
The girth.
Yeah. I think that's where most women say, oh, wow, that's big. They're talking about like
girth.
Okay, that's gonna pull a little, but for the most part, guys, they get this in their head, and it becomes something to them where it it really messes with their psyche. Some guys are very insecure about it, so they won't. They've got to have sex with the lights off, and they will sit there and kind of be a little shy around people, especially around women. And you'll see that even in, when you're just out in public, when you're out in a social gathering, guys who are a little bit more shy around women seem to be the guys that are less confident about what they're packing. So in a guy's mind, yes, it does matter to them. And the bad thing is, who the people that are asking this question, they got to understand there's really nothing you can do manually to make it bigger. It is what it is. It's a genetic.
It is what it is.
It is a genetic gift that's given to you. If you don't like what was given to you, it didn't bother you so much when you were 14.
Yeah.
So
exactly. Exactly.
You just kind of got to accept it. Now, yes, there are some things that you can do for temporary growth, pumps and things like that. But, you take a chance of damaging yourself. You take a chance of damaging the tissue to the point where you'll no longer be able to get an erection. You won't be able to sustain any type of size whatsoever because you've used a device on yourself that's not designed to do what it's doing. It's and no medication is going to make it bigger either. It might look better because psychologically it's like, hey, I took these pills, they make me look bigger. Look, I look bigger. The only way you're gonna look bigger is guys, if you're a little bit heavy, lose some weight. That's really it.
That's true. I mean, yeah, you can, like you said, temporarily. There are some things that you can buy that can, because really what it is increasing blood flow to that area. But that's the same for women, because when women are turned on, the blood rushes to that area. Labia gets, plumper and fuller. And so it's the same with men. So there are things that you can buy that will increase the blood flow to that area, but it's not like it's going to be a permanent thing.
Yeah,
so
it's just temporary solution, and just work with what you got. Most fun in the bedroom has nothing to do with the penis, nothing to do with it at all.
Yeah, so just get good with your hands in your mouth. That's all you need to do.
There you go.
Okay, number 4. This one I thought was kind of funny, and I don't know if if it was a young person that, young people are Googling this. I don't know. But question number 4 is, how long does sex last? I was really surprised that someone would Google this.
I was more surprised by the woman who answered the question, to be honest with you. I was like, seriously, that is all?
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
I know. Yeah.
I guess let's define sex, though. Let's define sex as from the beginning, the foreplay, all the way through even the post play. There's so much that's done after sex. She has her orgasm, you have your orgasm. There's a lot you can do afterwards to help each other calm down and still just electrify those nerve endings where you still feel that pleasured state. And I think they're missing out on that. If they're talking about just we're in, we're out, that part where they're skipping.
It almost seems like that.
If they're skipping those parts, it depends on, I guess, yeah, maybe then 10, 15 minutes.
It could be
right.
5.
Could be 5.
If you're like, rushed, but you're like both into it and you just want that quick.
Yeah, but if it should be for hours. It should last as long as the two of you. Oh my
God. I think that's very rare that people have that. But yeah, I mean, but there's different kinds. I think it depends, right? Whether you're having the quickie, whether it's a whole evening, whether it's.
It can start in the morning when you wake up to go to work. You start that flirtatiousness. You start that flirting that gets kind of the mind rolling. It's during work when you're sending each other little text messages and after work when you get home and you kind of increase that tension a little bit. I mean, this
Sending
is
those nip pics.
Yeah, right. It's a
Send 'em a nip pic.
process. And it's an enjoyable process. I don't want to make it sound like it's like, okay, let's get out the checklist here, boys. Okay, send dick pic. Check. Okay, guys, don't do that.
Don't do that. No.
You don't want to see that. Trust me.
Whether you're married to us or not. So do not send that.
But yeah, it's not a checklist. So when I say process, I'm talking about
flirting and
it's
teasing.
the enjoyable process. It's the play that leads up to it. And then when you get into it, it's still part of the playing. It's just having fun, enjoying yourselves in each other. I mean, there's so much that needs to be done. I mean, you got six senses. And if you can pleasure all six of those senses, that is the absolute best you can ever have.
Yeah. But I think if we're talking, I think with the question, it really is like the act itself. I mean, what you're talking about, yeah, I mean, I think that is the way it should be. That I think that, that should be the stage you set. But I think if you're talking about just the act, I mean, I think it's different. It's depending on the mood that you're in. It's depending on the time of day, the time, how much time you've got. I mean, it could be whatever you want. There's no
what
rules.
Kind of prescription medications they're on. Oh, I'm sorry. Hey, Viagra. They say if it lasts longer than, if you have an erection lasting longer than 4 hours, seek medical. Medical attention. I've always wondered though, who are you seeking medical attention for, you or her? It's because if you've got one for 4 hours, you may as well freaking use it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyways.
Yeah. But I think the average probably is something like 15 minutes.
Yeah,
I
probably.
think that's average is what people
10, 15 minutes, I think, is probably for the most part, because especially later on in a relationship when things start becoming more monotonous, people start becoming more complacent, where it's like, okay, time to do my wifely duties. Here we go. There it is. Okay. I'm going to go take a shower.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's so unfortunate, because that is such an essential element to a relationship as far as communication and staying connected to each other when things get tough. And that's something that's given such little attention. I mean, that's a time that you can turn to each other when maybe things are tough, or you're just needing that closeness. For men, that's a lot of them, how they express their feelings and their intimacy, and that's something that's just put to the wayside, and it's very little attention and time and priority is put to that. Really important.
Before we move on to the next question, if you're just joining us, we are talking about the 7 most Googled questions on the internet about sex. And if you would, please do us a huge solid favor and share this out, because there's other people who want to hear about this stuff too. Trust me, if you showed up, there's going to be somebody else that wants to show up too, and they will thank you. Trust me, they will thank you for you sharing this with them. So please do us a little favor and do that for us.
Mm-hmm.
So we are on number 5?
Number 5. We're getting into the serious stuff now.
Oh, number 5.
Number 5.
This is the one I think it is.
Probably.
All right, let's get there.
Number 5. Does anal sex hurt?
Okay, now number 6. Well, not for me. I don't.
You might want to clarify that.
Yeah, but I'm not exactly sure. Of course it does. It's not natural. It's not naturally lubricated. It's not part of the body that anything was meant to necessarily go into. So of course it's going to be a little bit painful, or a lot bit painful.
Well, I think, yeah, I mean, it's different for sure. I think if this is definitely an area that isn't discussed, or a lot of education, or a lot of experience, anything like that. But if it's super painful, you're not doing it right. And this
No.
is something that needs a lot of preparation. If it's something you want to try, or you have been, but it really hurts, this isn't, this is one, you need a lot of preparation. Like you
Yeah,
said,
definitely.
it's not self-lubricating at all. You want to, and chances are you want not just regular lube, you want like really
Extremely
good,
thick, good lube. Yeah.
extremely thick lube. And you go slow. You go slow. Someone that I know was I was watching this video on education on this thing, and really it was, if it hurts, you're doing it wrong, but you have to go slow and do the doorbell method. I'm like, what's the doorbell method? It was like ding dong, ding dong, ding dong.
You
So you
know,
just
and
kind of, that's, you're gonna like take your time, do the doorbell method.
play ding dong with the ding dong.
Start with something small. Maybe, you get a toy. There's toys that are like especially for this, that are extremely small, that you can take your time. If it's something you want to try, that's something else that you could do in your relationship, right? If you have the time, if you have the evening, try
talk
it out.
about it. Start off though, but you have to talk about it because it's a trust thing. It's really
Oh yeah.
what it boils down to. It's like, seriously, it's a trust thing. And if your significant other is allowing you to do this, you got to talk about it. You got to understand what everything means, what sounds she's making, or what she's making, what they mean. Find out what maybe there's something in there, the reason why they haven't wanted to try it before. Find out if there's a reason. Some women will say, yeah, go ahead, but they're really screaming, no, don't. I had a really horrible experience with it in the past, but they're not going to tell you that because they're afraid that you'll reject them and they don't want to feel that rejection.
Yeah.
So that open communication, that being able to talk to each other about it, is extremely, extremely important.
Yeah. It's not something you just want to spring on the other person.
No, and you were talking about that preparation, and for some women, it helps to be able to spend a little time in that preparation. Whether it be doing an enema, taking a warm bath, whatever the case is, you want to take that time to be able to prepare your body for what you're going to do, because even though it sounds dirty and nasty and we're going to get hot and freaky tonight, there could be a whole other realm of things that are just all of a sudden, nope, not going to happen. It can't happen. Some women just relax parts of their bodies a little easier than others, and some are not able to relax their sphincters enough to be able to even do it. So it's not every woman can do it. It's not for everybody.
People naturally hold a lot of tension there. I mean,
Yeah.
Just think when you get freaked out or something, like you're clenching, like you hold a lot of tension there. And maybe the first time it's just like touching that area. Maybe it's just like rubbing that area. It's just, and for some people, like that's like a major turn on. That feeling alone is enough to add a whole other level to someone's sex life, that you don't even have to like have insertion. For some people, it's just, that's enough. And there's products that you can get too. There's a Love Winks company. They have a product called Tickle My Bum, and it's just like a tingling gel that you could just put there, and even just have that, just to have that sensation there. But yeah, it's definitely, you want to talk about it, and do you want to try it, and what do you think, and are you open? And there may be some past, like you said, bad experience, it was painful, there was no preparation, or maybe we're talking like a sexual assault type thing. So for men and women, and you know what, it's also and a lot of men might not want to admit it, but that's a pleasurable area for men as well. Some straight men might not want to admit that, but that area is also pleasurable for men.
I honestly don't have any experience. That's not something that I've
No.
tried with my wife, and it's not something she's ever asked me to try. So
I don't think a lot of women would, but
it's not something that's ever come up.
Yeah.
So it can be painful, and you got to listen to your body, because if you're in pain, if it's excruciating pain, something's not being done right. Pain is that warning sign saying, up, stop. This isn't, discomfort is one thing, but pain. And there's a difference between, because it's going to be uncomfortable the first time, no doubt. May even have a little bit of pain, but you'll know the difference between the pain I'm talking about, where you
just uncomfortable, this is a little bit different.
Okay, give me a minute. I might get used to this.
Take a deep breath.
Yeah, but
ding dong.
Ding dong. Play ding dong, ding dong. So, but there you go. Anal sex. We talked about it here. You're not going to hear it on another shows.
That's right. Oh my God. Number 6. How can I last longer in bed?
Don't get into a freaking hurry. It's not a race.
Yeah.
Really, that's where it starts, is just, it's not a race.
Mm-hmm. And I think for some people, I think for some men, they just naturally can longer, and some men, they just can't. So you got to find
there's techniques though. For men, there are techniques. If you're quick on the trigger, you can, I know.
Love your words.
Right. But if you're quick on the trigger, you can reach down, and right where the perineum is, underneath your ball sack, you press up, it pushes pressure against the prostate, and it will help you not have an orgasm. There's techniques like that. You can
get a cock ring.
You can get a ring also. That'll help keep everything back. You can also use different types of lubricants. There's lubricants that have desensitizers, analgesics. I know I said anal again, but this is not what I'm talking about here. And it will help desensitize you. Now, the problem with using those now is you have to apply them and then wipe them off once you feel that numbing sensation, because if you don't, she will get numb as well, and she's not going to enjoy herself just as much as you're not enjoying yourself.
Yeah.
So I would stay away from those types of lubricants, but at the same time, if you're one of those people that have issues with maybe premature ejaculations, which that reminds me of a story, but I'll get into that another time.
I want to hear the damn story.
Okay, so, I'll finish up here. So if you got PE, these gels may work out a little bit. So,
but what else? But there's other things too. You could back off.
Yeah, you can, and I was going to get to that after the story. So, because it's very important to the PE aspect.
Oh, okay.
So my children. Okay, so my children, my 2 daughters were in the car. I was taking them to school one morning, and this is when we lived in Texas. So they're in first grade and third grade, I think, at the time. And this commercial comes on the radio about PE, premature ejaculation. And my daughter says, "Hey, Dad, I've got PE." Sweetie, that's not what they're talking about. No, but really, I do. I've got it today, actually. Baby, I'm going to take you to school. I'm going to drop you off, and then enjoy PE.
Yeah.
And I dropped him off, and I could not stop laughing.
No doubt.
For the entire ride home. And now we didn't live that far from the school. It was maybe 10 minutes away, but still, it was enough. I died. Oh my God. Kids say some of the most amazing things.
Oh yeah. That is funny. Holy shit. Yeah. I would kill myself. That's cute.
So anyways, getting back to different methods. Yeah. The pull out method. Yeah, definitely. Now, I didn't agree with one of the things that she said. She's like, yeah, just pull out and then go downtown. And if you go down on her, she won't mind. there are some people that mind very much, especially if they're getting really close to their own orgasm and you just stop and go down, you've just reset that clock. So pay attention to her first before you use this method.
Yeah.
Extremely important there.
That's right. You're so much smarter than that porn star. But see, she's a porn star.
Yeah, she gets paid to go in there, get it on and get it out. I mean, it's just, they don't.
And that's what they do, right? They go, go, and then pull out and then totally change something else. I'd be like, whoa.
Yeah. I mean,
like I was in a groove there and you just like.
It's like, here we go. Time to spackle the ceiling. There you go.
Oh, God, that's
so, yeah.
So there you go. Number 7. Now this one, this is a very profound question, I think. Why won't my girlfriend have sex with me? It's a Googled question.
Did you lose your job? I don't know. There could be a lot of reasons.
Yeah. Like it could be, maybe, and it depends, like, was there a lot of sex in the beginning and then it's died off and she doesn't want to have sex with you? Has it always been that way? Maybe there's been issues. Maybe there's a little bit of trauma there and she's feeling, uncomfortable, and this is a difficult situation for her and something that requires some communication and some patience and all of that. Maybe you got bad hygiene. Maybe she doesn't want to.
I guess that could be something. And then there's medical reasons as well, and you don't know unless there's communication. But
could be painful. Yeah,
this happened to me when I was, through my entire 20s. We rarely had sex. And the reason why is because it was painful for her. And she ended up having to have a hysterectomy at the age of, I think it was like 29, because she found out she had cervical cancer. And because of that, it made it extremely painful for her to have sex. Mm-hmm. So all through our 20s, we didn't have a very healthy sex life because of that. Mm-hmm. So there could be a lot of reasons. Mm-hmm. So make sure you're in tune with each other and you're talking to each other. If she's not having sex with you, chances are she's probably stressed out about something. And that's usually the number one reason.
Yeah. Stressed or self-conscious. Maybe she's self-conscious about her body. There's just so many different reasons.
Self-conscious about your body. I mean, maybe if you've been in a long-term relationship, you're probably over that a little bit, unless there's been some major changes.
But see, we don't know. We don't know. Going by the question, why won't has it changed? Has it always been that way? You don't know. We don't know the circumstance.
Maybe you're a dick when you get off work and she's just not into you.
Yeah.
I mean, that could be as simple as that, or it could be as complicated as a medical problem.
Yeah. Yeah. Or maybe you're like really not good. Maybe you're just really bad.
Yeah. Maybe you just are really bad. And if that's the case, the next time you do, make sure you worry more about what her pleasure is, not your own. Just try that.
And the whole key to all of this is communicate. And that's why we do these shows, because I'm looking at this list and, we're thinking these are kind of basic things, but it's also like for a lot of people, sex isn't a huge priority in their life. And they're missing out on this powerful, powerful thing that is essential, like everything else in your life. And, and that's why we talk about these things, because you don't know the difference that it can make in your life when you talk about these things, how much better it can make your relationship. If you talk about these things, then it can improve your sex life, then it can improve your relationship, then it can improve your work, it can improve your family life. I mean, it's the ripple effect of that. And, I was reading 20% of marriages are sexless.
That's huge. That's a huge number.
And the average, and then next, the couples that do, the average is, I think like 58 times a year.
Wow.
So we're, average once a week, right? Which I was surprised because I would think most it's probably, I would have thought, well, if you've been together for a while, once every 2 weeks, I would have thought was the average from what you hear people say.
Right.
Right.
I think, you know, I think a lot of people put a lot of pressure on the amount of sex they have. If people would go back to looking more at the quality of sex they're having versus the amount of sex that they're having, I think you would find a lot more happier people, a lot more happier relationships, even if it is only, maybe it's only a couple times a month. Maybe it's only once a month. But if that once a month is absolutely amazing, that might be enough to kind of keep that fire rolling.
Yeah. If you have that once a month, like couples have date nights. If you have that once a month, we're in this generation where we have kids, we've got aging parents. That's a big interference in a couple's life, in their sex life, keeping the kids out of the bedroom so they don't interrupt you. But if you have that time once a month where you have a whole evening, like date night, but you have that whole evening, you have hours to just be and explore and talk about it and maybe try something different. And you can have a good laugh in there and just be together and be comfortable and maybe try something different, maybe incorporate different things. Like you said, if you could have 3 hours of amazing quality time together, sexually, I mean, it's what works for couples. 20% of married couples don't have sex. That's okay if they're okay with it.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that if one of you has a higher sex drive than the other, I think that there definitely has to be a discussion. I think that you can't say, if you happen to be the one that your sex drive isn't that high and the other one is, I think it's your responsibility to, maybe there is a medical issue, to go to the doctor, to get your hormone levels tested, to try something. There are some great products. Maybe your hormones are out of whack and you need to get your libido up and get it jump started, because it is an essential part of a relationship. If you're not in sync with each other.
And that goes for men too. Guys, get checked out. When you go in, you get yourself checked out. Ask for that testosterone checkup. After 30, our testosterone starts going down. Now, about the time you hit 40, 42, 45, your testosterone is at the lowest possible it's going to get. I mean, it's almost next to nil. Get your testosterone checked out. That is a huge reason why a lot of men stop having sexual desires. It's not something to be ashamed of. It just happens. It's an aging process. So it's something to look at. And if there's other medical conditions, maybe you have some heart disease in the family, that's something else you want to get checked out, because heart disease can an early warning of something wrong is what's going on in the bedroom. If you're having problems with ED or other issues, it could be a good strong sign that you may have some heart disease issues. So get yourselves checked out. And it's not something that's embarrassing. It's not something that you have to feel is like taboo or anything like that. This is who we are, folks. We're social animals. We like to be around other people. That's just how we relate. That's how we help each other get through this thing we call life.
Yeah.
And that sexual tension, that sexual energy that we have, that is extremely important. Whether you're having sex with somebody or not, that sexual energy that you carry is very important for you to be able to carry you through your day. That's how people get what they want from each other is part of that flirtatiousness that goes on. You might call it negotiation, but it's flirting. You're really just flirting with each other. It's really what it all boils down to.
Oh, yeah. Your sexuality is your life force. Creativity lives there. Confidence lives there. It's such a powerful force that is so overlooked, never talked about. And I challenge anybody who's watching this that has put that to the side, that doesn't give it the attention. I challenge you to either, get a great product that can up your libido, go to the doctor, and get tested to check your hormone levels, and just see, or even just have it more often to see, because lack of sex will lower your sex drive.
Yeah.
I mean, use it or lose it.
That's so true. Oh, that's so true.
I mean, there is such a thing as vaginal atrophy. And we have these parts for a reason. We have these feelings for a reason. We have this drive for a reason. And so I challenge you, even just up it, just consciously, like you say, you're going to get to the gym and you're going to try and go 3 times a week. Well, then up your sex. Mm-hmm. And if you're a lady, God, your guy is going to be so freaking happy that for 2 weeks, try to like double the amount of sex you have. Unless it's 0, then that ain't going to do any good. But, just up it and see that gets things flowing as well.
And I want to just mention Sadie real quick, because she says maybe she wants you to initiate, the guy to initiate, and that's very possible. But here's the thing. A lot of guys fear rejection so much that they will not initiate sex, even though they want it so bad. They will not initiate sex because they're afraid of rejection. And if there's been any rejection from you at any time during your relationship, whether it be like, oh, I really don't feel good right now, I don't, that is enough. Yeah, that is an obvious time where, yeah, dudes, back off. If she's not feeling it, back off. But that rejection to some people can be detrimental to your future sex life. Mm-hmm. So maybe like Heather has been saying over and over in the chat, communication is key. So if you're not feeling it, explain why you're not feeling it. If you have to reject it, understand, help them understand why you need to reject it. It's like we bring these points out here because we want to be able to show people that the communication, it doesn't stop here. It's got to keep going on. And this stuff is not embarrassing. It's not taboo. It is socially acceptable to discuss these things with the people that are special to you in your lives. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't go sit down at a table at McDonald's and start talking about it with just anybody. But at the same time, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah. When you get with groups of people, I mean, how often does the conversation turn to sex? Get a bunch of women together and they see some hot guy walk by. Ooh, what do they start talking about? You go to romance parties and ladies' homes where there's products and they're loving it. Women, and I think there's this thing of women aren't supposed to like it that much. But I really like that you brought up the whole rejection thing, because I think it's I think that there's not a lot of mind or attention paid to that women will go, yeah, no. And not realizing how, ladies, when you get really hurt about something, because women are emotional, men may not show it, but that deeply affects them because that is their opportunity to show how they feel. And when we just go, not tonight, without some kind of, I mean, just think if your guy came home and you wanted to talk about your day and you had such a rough day, we like to talk to them about it. And if they just went, I don't want to listen to you, like, oh my God, you would lose your freaking mind. That's what it's like. Like, gotta be a little bit sensitive to those things. And yeah, so talk like we do all the time, nonstop. We could go on forever.
And because we could go on forever, I've got to shut us down. That is all the time that we have for this week, for tonight, I should say, because we're not done this week. We still have Wednesday and Friday night.
Yeah.
But why don't you tell them how they can listen to us? Because actually, we can be listened to right now too.
Yes, we can. We just started on milehighradio.com. Every Monday night, we are broadcast on Mile High Radio. There's tons of fabulous shows there. But if you go to our website at gritandgracetv.com, you'll see all the places that we're available. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel so you never miss one of our videos because they're all uploaded there. So if you happen to miss one night, you will be notified of that. And you can find all the places that we're available, like iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, TuneIn, and like I said, Mile High Radio. So go there. All the information you need is there. If you want to ask a question anonymously, if you want to suggest a topic, maybe that you don't want to put your name to, you can do that on our website as well. Be sure to check out our resources tab. We have some great resources there from past shows. And, periodically we put up new ones depending on what we talk about. If we want to, have a resource for you to download and check it out.
All right, folks. Well, I know tonight has been a little bit spicy, and I want to thank you all for showing up. Thank you, Bonnie. Thank you very much for that comment. Great show, she says.
Thanks, Bonnie and Sadie.
And to everybody else, thank you, Heather, Jamie, Sadie, Teddy, Erica. Wow, there's just so many of you, and it was an absolute pleasure to be here sharing all this stuff with you guys.
So carry on the conversation. Carry on the conversation. It's essential. It's essential. It really is.
So until Wednesday, thank you very much, and we'll be seeing you.
Bye, folks.
Oh, I figured I'd let you guys go out with some 1970s mood music.
Woohoo.
Okay, it's cheap porn music, but whatever. Y'all have fun. We'll be seeing you.